The National Electrical Code, Section 700.12b4, mandates a disconnecting means for outdoor generator sets installed at a building or structure, respective of the generator's location. This means that regardless of where the generator is situated relative to the building, a disconnecting means must be present. However, Section 700.12b6 introduces an exception to this rule. The exception in 700.12b6 provides relief from the requirement for an additional disconnecting means under specific conditions. These conditions are: firstly, the generator must be housed outdoors. Secondly, the generator must have a readily accessible disconnecting means located within sight of the building or structure it supplies. Thirdly, only ungrounded conductors serve or pass through the building or structure. In summary, the exception in 700.12b6 is applicable only when all three of these conditions are simultaneously met. If any one of these conditions is not satisfied, then an additional disconnecting means is required at the point where the generator's conductors enter the building. The rule that the exception in 700.12b6 is accepting is the requirement for an additional disconnecting means at the point of entry into the building, as initially stipulated by 700.12b4. Now, regarding the arguments based on sections 225.31 and 225.36, these sections necessitate the use of service entrance rated equipment at the service entrance. However, it's crucial to note that the specific rule pertaining to outdoor generator sets, which is 700.12, does not explicitly state that the disconnecting means must be service entrance rated. Consequently, the code does not mandate the use of service entrance rated equipment at the generator disconnect. Let's address bonding considerations. If a neutral to ground bond is desired in a generator installation, it should be established within the generator itself or at the generator's disconnecting means. Crucially, bonding should not occur at the disconnect located at the point where the generator's conductors enter the building. This is to avoid creating unwanted parallel neutral paths, which can lead to circulating currents and potential safety hazards. It is important to reiterate the conditions that must be met to leverage the exception in 700.12b6. If the generator is not housed outdoors, the exception does not apply. If the disconnecting means that the generator is not readily accessible, the exception is void. If the disconnecting means that the generator is not within sight of the building, the exception is void. If grounded conductors also pass through the building, such as a neutral, the exception does not apply. Each of these conditions must be met to avoid the requirement of an additional disconnect at the building entry. Regarding disconnects, consider the purpose of a disconnect. It's there to isolate the power source for safety, whether it's for maintenance, repair, or in emergency situations. The placement of the disconnect should facilitate this purpose. The disconnect at the generator itself allows for isolating the generator for servicing or in the event of a generator malfunction. The disconnect at the building entry allows for isolating the building from the generator's power, which may be necessary during a building emergency or for electrical work on the building's systems. There are different types of disconnects that can be used, including fused and non-fused disconnects. A fused disconnect provides overcurrent protection in addition to the disconnecting function. The choice between a fused and non-fused disconnect depends on the specific requirements of the installation, including the need for overcurrent protection at the disconnect location. The size of the conductors used for the generator installation must be properly sized to handle the generator's output. This is critical for safety and to prevent overheating of the conductors. The conductor size is determined by the generator's rated current and the applicable ampacity tables in the National Electrical Code. The overcurrent protection for the generator conductors must also be properly sized. This protection is typically provided by a circuit breaker or fuses. The size of the overcurrent protection is determined by the ampacity of the conductors and the applicable code requirements. Remember to consult the generator manufacturer's specifications and the National Electrical Code for detailed guidance on conductor sizing and overcurrent protection. It is good practice to use appropriately sized conduit to protect the generator conductors. Conduit protects the conductors from physical damage and environmental factors. The type of conduit used depends on the specific installation environment and the applicable code requirements. Proper grounding is essential for generator installation. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to trip the overcurrent protection and prevent electrical shock hazards. The grounding system for the generator must comply with the requirements of the National Electrical Code. The grounding electrode system typically consists of ground rods, ground rings, or connections to the building's metal frame. Grounding conductors must be properly sized and installed to ensure effective grounding. Proper labeling is critical for generator installations. Labeling helps to identify the generator, the disconnecting means, and other important components of the system. Labels should be clear, durable, and permanently fixed. The labeling should comply with the requirements of the National Electrical Code. Consider the voltage drop in the generator conductors. Voltage drop occurs when the voltage at the load is less than the voltage at the source. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction. To minimize voltage drop, use appropriately sized conductors and keep the conductor runs as short as possible. The National Electrical Code provides guidance on voltage drop calculations and acceptable voltage drop limits. When installing a generator, be mindful of the potential for harmonics. Harmonics are distortions of the sinusoidal waveform of the alternating current voltage or current. Harmonics can cause equipment to overheat, malfunction, and fail. Generators can produce harmonics, especially when supplying nonlinear loads such as electronic equipment. To mitigate the effects of harmonics, consider using harmonic filters or reactors. Surge protection is important for generator installations. Surges are transient overvoltage events that can damage electrical equipment. Surges can be caused by lightning, switching operations, or other electrical disturbances. Surge protective devices, or SPDs, can be installed to protect the generator and the connected equipment from surges. SPD should be installed at the generator disconnect and other critical locations in the electrical system. Consider the impact of the generator on the building's electrical system. When the generator is running, it becomes the primary source of power for the building. The generator must be capable of supplying the building's electrical load without overloading. The generator's output voltage and frequency must be compatible with the building's electrical equipment. A transfer switch is used to switch the building's electrical load between the utility power and the generator power. The transfer switch can be manual or automatic. An automatic transfer switch, or ATS, automatically switches the load to the generator when the utility power fails. Transfer switches are critical components of generator systems, ensuring a seamless transition between power sources. A load bank test is performed to verify that the generator is capable of supplying its rated load. The load bank test involves connecting a resistive load to the generator and measuring the generator's output voltage, current, frequency, and other parameters. The load bank test helps to identify any potential problems with the generator before it is placed into service. Regular maintenance is essential for generator systems. Maintenance includes inspecting the generator, changing the oil and filters, checking the coolant level, and testing the generator's operation. Regular maintenance helps to ensure that the generator is ready to operate when needed. Keep a log of all maintenance activities performed on the generator. This log can be used to track the generator's performance and identify any potential problems. Consider the environmental impact of the generator installation. Generators can produce noise and emissions. Take steps to minimize the noise and emissions from the generator. Use sound attenuating enclosures to reduce noise. Install exhaust after-treatment devices to reduce emissions. Follow all applicable environmental regulations. Obtain all necessary permits and approvals before installing a generator. Generator installations may require permits from the local building department, the fire department, and other regulatory agencies. Ensure that the generator installation complies with all applicable codes and standards. Document the generator installation thoroughly. Keep records of all design calculations, equipment specifications, installation drawings, and test results. This documentation can be used for future reference and for troubleshooting purposes. Consider the security of the generator installation. Generators are valuable assets that can be targets for theft or vandalism. Take steps to protect the generator from unauthorized access. Install fencing, lighting, and security cameras. Consider using a remote monitoring system to monitor the generator's operation and security. It is crucial to engage qualified professionals for generator installations. Electrical work can be dangerous. Hire a licensed electrician to perform the electrical work. Ensure that the electrician is experienced in generator installations. Obtain all necessary inspections to verify that the generator installation complies with the applicable codes and standards. Stay up to date on the latest codes and standards for generator installations. The National Electrical Code is updated every 3 years. Stay informed about the changes to the code and how they affect generator installations. Consider attending training courses and seminars on generator installations. These courses can provide valuable information and hands-on training. Remember that safety is paramount when working with electrical equipment. Always follow safe work practices. De-energize equipment before working on it. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment. Use properly insulated tools. Be aware of the potential hazards and take steps to mitigate them. By following these guidelines, you can ensure a safe and reliable generator installation. Consider the long-term reliability of the generator. Choose a generator that is designed for the intended application and operating environment. Use high-quality components and materials. Perform regular maintenance to keep the generator in good operating condition. Plan for future expansion. Choose a generator that has enough capacity to meet the current load and any future load growth. Consider the availability of spare parts. Choose a generator that is manufactured by a reputable company that has a good track record of providing spare parts and service. Consider the cost of ownership. The cost of ownership includes the initial cost of the generator, the cost of installation, the cost of maintenance, and the cost of fuel. Choose a generator that is cost-effective over its entire life cycle. When selecting a generator, consider the type of fuel that it will use. Generators can be powered by gasoline, diesel, natural gas, or propane. Each type of fuel has its own advantages and disadvantages. Gasoline is readily available, but it is also flammable and can be expensive. Diesel is more fuel efficient than gasoline, but it can be more expensive to purchase. Natural gas is a clean burning fuel, but it may not be available in all locations. Propane is a versatile fuel that can be used in a variety of applications. Choose a fuel that is readily available, cost-effective, and environmentally friendly. Consider the generator's starting system. Generators can be started manually or automatically. Manual start generators require someone to physically start the generator. Automatic start generators start automatically when the utility power fails. Automatic start generators are more convenient, but they are also more expensive. Choose a starting system that meets the specific needs of the application. Consider the generator's control system. Generators can be controlled manually or automatically. Manual controlled generators require someone to manually control the generator's operation. Automatic control generators automatically control the generator's operation based on preset parameters. Automatic control generators are more sophisticated, but they can also be more expensive. Choose a control system that meets the specific needs of the application. Consider the generator's enclosure. Generators can be housed in a variety of enclosures. The enclosure protects the generator from the elements and reduces noise. The type of enclosure used depends on the specific application and the operating environment. Consider the generator's cooling system. Generators can be cooled by air or liquid. Air-cooled generators are less expensive, but they are also less efficient. Liquid-cooled generators are more efficient, but they are also more expensive. Choose a cooling system that meets the specific needs of the application. Consider the generator's lubrication system. Generators require regular lubrication to keep their moving parts in good operating condition. The lubrication system can be manual or automatic. Manual lubrication requires someone to manually lubricate the generator's moving parts. Automatic lubrication systems automatically lubricate the generator's moving parts. Choose a lubrication system that meets the specific needs of the application. Consider the generator's exhaust system. Generators produce exhaust gases that must be properly vented. The exhaust system must be designed to safely vent the exhaust gases away from the building and the surrounding area. The exhaust system must comply with all applicable codes and standards. Consider the generator's fuel storage system. Generators require a fuel storage system to store the fuel that they use. The fuel storage system must be designed to safely store the fuel and prevent leaks. The fuel storage system must comply with all applicable codes and standards. Consider the generator's noise level. Generators can be noisy. Choose a generator that has a low noise level. Use sound attenuating enclosures to reduce noise. Locate the generator away from noise-sensitive areas. Consider the generator's emissions. Generators produce emissions that can pollute the air. Choose a generator that has low emissions. Install exhaust after-treatment devices to reduce emissions. Follow all applicable environmental regulations. Consider the generator's warranty. Generators typically come with a warranty that covers defects in materials and workmanship. The warranty period varies depending on the manufacturer and the type of generator. Choose a generator that has a good warranty. Consider the generator's service and support. Choose a generator that is manufactured by a reputable company that has a good track record of providing service and support. Make sure that the company has a network of authorized service providers in your area. Consider the generator's training. Choose a generator that is easy to operate and maintain. The manufacturer should provide training on the generator's operation and maintenance. Consider the generator's documentation. Choose a generator that comes with complete and accurate documentation. The documentation should include the generator's operating manual, maintenance manual, and parts list. Consider the generator's safety features. Choose a generator that has a variety of safety features, such as overspeed protection, overcurrent protection, and overvoltage protection. Consider the generator's compliance with codes and standards. Choose a generator that complies with all applicable codes and standards, such as the National Electrical Code, the National Fire Protection Association standards, and the Environmental Protection Agency regulations.